The executive director of the San Jose Police Officers Association facing drug charges tonight, accused of importing and then distributing thousands of synthetic opioid pills.
I would equal that to, your neighbor, Mr. Rogers is a serial killer. Totally stunned.
Neighbors of Joanne Segovia say they are in shock tonight after learning she has been charged by the United States Attorney. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mike Meebeck.
And I'm Greg Lee. Prosecutors say the 64-year-old leader of the police union has been importing the drugs for 7 years. The United States Department of Justice says Segovia, who is a civilian, not a sworn officer, used her personal and office computers to order thousands of pills to her home from abroad. There's a photo of her from her LinkedIn page. Authorities say between October 2015 and January of this year, Segovia had at least 61 shipments mailed to her home. They came from Hungary, India, Singapore, and other countries. The criminal complaint alleges that Segovia was apprehended as part of an ongoing Homeland Security investigation into a network that was shipping controlled substances into the Bay Area. We went by an address associated with her. Neighbors say they never would have suspected her of any illegal activity.
I did get a call from my wife that there were 10 or 11 people outside that look like police officers. When you think of drug activity, you think of people coming and going, but if this is going across the country, it sounds like drug Amazon. Pretty wild.
The complaint also alleges Segovia used her office at the Police Officers Association to distribute some of the pills. A spokesperson for the San Jose Police Officers Association responded to the charges, saying no one at the POA is involved or had prior knowledge of the alleged acts. The board of directors is saddened and disappointed at hearing this news, and we have pledged to provide our full support to the investigative authorities.
Disturbing story. The director of the San Jose Police Officers Association now facing drug charges. She's accused of trafficking fentanyl here in the Bay Area.
Court documents say that the union director was buying and selling the drug right under the nose of the Police Officers Association. KRON 4's Michael Thomas is live in San Jose with the details. What an incredible story.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Lots to unpack here. The woman in question is 64 years old, and she's worked here at the Police Association for 20 years. The feds say almost half that time she spent buying and selling illegal drugs from outside the country, distributing them across the U.S. and the Bay Area, all while using the association's UPS account. Take a look. This is who we're talking about, 64-year-old Joanne Segovia. She's been the executive director for the San Jose Police Association since 2003 and is now the center of Homeland Security's international.
But first, the Police Officers Association facing drug charges tonight, accused of trafficking fentanyl to the Bay Area. Thanks for joining us at 10. I'm Ken Wayne.
I'm Pam Moore. Court documents claim that the union director was buying and selling fentanyl right under the nose of the Police Officers Association.
KRON 4's Ella Sogamonian tracking this developing story. She joins us now live from our newsroom. Ella.
Ken and Pam, the defendant has worked with the San Jose POA since 2003, and she allegedly started to buy and sell illegal drugs about 5 to 8 years ago, some linked to a death in Alabama. An investigation by Homeland Security into internationally produced drug shipments led agents to Joanne Segovia, who is the executive director of the San Jose Police Officers Association. Court documents claim she was dealing drugs and receiving shipments to both her home and office address, some that were seized and opened. The criminal complaint also alleges Segovia used personal and office computers to order thousands of illegal pills from countries like India and China in packages labeled wedding party favors and gift makeup, and that she allegedly used a Cash App account in her name linked to her work email for payments. Segovia is now facing charges for importing and exporting opioids like fentanyl. Ladaris Cordell is a retired Superior Court judge and a former independent auditor of the police department in San Jose. She had this to say in response to the allegations.
It raises a lot of questions, and the issue is, why didn't they know? And if they have anyone who is in charge of looking at the finances, checking the records and the books, it would seem that someone would have noticed that this was happening. So that's the concern here. So I think that the Police Officers Association has a lot of explaining to do.
San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan said in a statement, "This is an incredibly disturbing allegation. No one is above the law, regardless of who their employer is. I want to thank U.S. Attorney Ramsey and his colleagues for aggressively pursuing the sources of fentanyl coming into our communities and holding drug dealers accountable." Segovia is not a sworn officer, but a civilian, and if convicted, she can be sentenced to 20 years in prison. If she's also connected to that death in Alabama, Cordell tells me that she could also be held responsible for that, too.
The San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan also commented saying, quote, "This is an incredibly disturbing allegation. No one is above the law, regardless of who their employer is. I want to thank U.S. Attorney Ramsey and his colleagues for aggressively pursuing the sources of fentanyl coming into our communities and holding drug dealers accountable." Now, according to documents, the feds actually interviewed her about the situation back in February, and she continued to make orders throughout March.
Well, isn't that something? And she's still getting paid right now.
Now, this 13-page document also goes on to say that there is a case in Alabama that regards somebody having an overdose and dying, and while Segovia's name and address and telephone number are linked to that case. As we get more details, we'll continue to keep you updated. We did reach out to the association for comment. We have not heard back. Segovia has not either made a comment as well. But
well, she's been arrested, but she's still getting paid. I don't think she would have probably ever got caught had there not been a death associated with her drug dealing.